Beware of supervolcano warning, as Naples is built on top of one of the world's largest active volcanoes, Mount Vesuvius. It last erupted in 79 AD, killing over 16,000 people. But what if it erupted today? Well, today, we take a look at what would happen if Mount Vesuvius had a super eruption. This is supervolcano warning. Campania is a region in southwestern Italy that has a population of over 6 million people. Its capital is the city of Naples, which is home to over 4 million people. The city of Naples is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world and is known for its rich history, amazing architecture, and mouth-watering cuisine. However, there is something lurking beneath the city that could end all of this at the drop of a hat. Mount Vesuvius, an active volcano that towers over the city, has the potential to destroy not only Naples, but the entire Campania region with just one massive eruption. The volcano has been dormant since 1944, but scientists believe that it could blow again at any moment. In fact, geologists are so concerned about the volcano that they have given it a threat level of 3 out of 4, with 4 being the most dangerous. In the past, Mount Vesuvius has been responsible for some truly catastrophic eruptions. In 79 AD, the volcano erupted, sending over 200 billion cubic feet of ash and pumice into the air. It rained down on the nearby cities of Pompeii, Herculaneum, Stabiae, and Oplontis, completely burying them in ash. Some 16,000 people lost their lives in the disaster. And while this was a devastating event, it pales in comparison to what would happen if the volcano were to erupt today. So what exactly would happen if Mount Vesuvius were to erupt today? To answer this question, let's take a closer look at the volcano itself. Mount Vesuvius is not your average volcano. It's actually a stratovolcano, also known as a composite volcano. Stratovolcanoes are known for their steep, conical shape and are formed by layers of ash, lava, and rock. Mount Vesuvius is actually the third largest stratovolcano in Italy, with the other two being Mount Etna and Stromboli. Mount Vesuvius is also one of the most densely populated areas in the world, with over 3 million people living within 30 miles of the volcano. If the volcano were to erupt, these people would be in grave danger. The first thing that would happen is that there would be a series of smaller eruptions leading up to the main event. These smaller eruptions would serve as a warning to the people of Naples that something bigger was on the way. The smaller eruptions would also give scientists an idea of what to expect from the main event. Once the smaller eruptions had subsided, the real eruption would begin. First, there would be a powerful explosion as the magma chamber beneath the volcano would be emptied. The explosion would be so loud that people would be able to hear it as far away as Rome. The explosion would also be so powerful that it would generate a shock wave that would travel around the world twice. The shock wave would cause buildings to collapse and cars to roll away. As the shock wave subsided, a cloud of ash and gas would begin to rise above Mount Vesuvius. The ash would shoot into the air at a speed of over 220 miles per hour. The ash cloud would eventually reach 21.7 miles into the sky, blocking out the sun and plunging the Campania region into darkness. The ash cloud would also contain pumice, which is a type of volcanic rock. The pumice would rain down on the surrounding area, covering everything in a thick layer of rock. The pumice would also generate a pyroclastic flow, which is a fast-moving current of hot gas and volcanic matter. The pyroclastic flow would race down the slopes of Mount Vesuvius at a speed of over 120 miles per hour. It would be so hot that anything in its path would be incinerated. But perhaps the most dangerous aspect of the eruption would be the volcanic mud flows. Volcanic mud flows are made up of a mixture of volcanic debris, water, and air. They form when the hot pumice and ash from the eruption melt the snow and ice on Mount Vesuvius. The resulting mud flows would be incredibly fast, reaching speeds of up to 120 miles per hour. They would also be incredibly hot, reaching temperatures of up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. The mud flows would carry away everything in their path, including trees, houses, and cars. If Mount Vesuvius were to erupt today, the death toll would be staggering. The pyroclastic flows alone would claim the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. and the mud flows would carry away even more. Even those who survived the initial eruption would face a long and difficult recovery. The ash and pumice would cover the entire Campania region, making it difficult to breathe, let alone see. The small towns near the volcano would be completely buried in ash, and the larger cities, such as Naples, would be severely damaged. So what would the rest of the world look like after a Mount Vesuvius supereruption? Let's start with the immediate aftermath of the eruption. The ash cloud would block out the sun, plunging the entire region into darkness. The air would be filled with ash and poisonous gases, making it difficult to breathe. The ground would shake as the shock wave from the explosion traveled around the world. People would be injured or killed by falling debris and the intense heat. The roads would be covered in ash, making it impossible to travel. The airports would be shut down due to the ash cloud, cutting off any hope of rescue. As the days went on, the full extent of the damage would become clear. Entire villages would be wiped off the map, buried under layers of ash and pumice. The major cities would be severely damaged, with many buildings reduced to rubble. The agricultural fields would be covered in ash, destroying the crops and killing the livestock. The water supply would be contaminated with volcanic debris, making it unsafe to drink. The air, water and soil would be contaminated with toxic chemicals, making it impossible to grow food or sustain life in the region. Rescue workers would struggle to reach the survivors because of the ash and debris covering the roads. Survivors would be desperate for food, water, and medical care. Many would succumb to their injuries or illnesses, and the death toll would continue to rise. The world would watch in horror as the situation in Campania grew worse and worse. The international community would scramble to provide aid, but it would be too little too late. The impact of a Mount Vesuvius supereruption would be felt around the world. The ash cloud would eventually spread across the entire Mediterranean Sea, covering countries such as Greece, Turkey, and Egypt. The ash would also make its way into the Arctic Circle, covering countries such as Greenland and Iceland. The ash would reflect the sun's rays back into space, causing global temperatures to plummet. The contaminated air and water would lead to a global pandemic, killing millions around the world. In the end, a Mount Vesuvius supereruption would be one of the most devastating natural disasters in history. It would wipe out entire civilizations and have a devastating impact on the entire planet. So let us all hope that this never happens anytime soon. A Campanian eruption would be devastating for obvious reasons. The country's GDP would likely drop by billions of dollars and the tourism industry would likely collapse. Italy would need billions of dollars in foreign aid to help rebuild. The country would likely be in a state of chaos and disorder as people struggled to cope with the aftermath of the eruption. The effects of a Campanian eruption would also be felt around the world. The global economy would likely suffer as trade routes were disrupted and financial markets plummeted. The stock market would likely crash and unemployment would skyrocket. The international community would likely scramble to help Italy, but it would be difficult to provide aid due to the chaos and destruction. However, despite the devastation, the people of Italy would likely come together in the aftermath of a Campanian eruption. They would rebuild their lives and their country with the help of the international community. The Italian people are known for their resilience and their ability to bounce back from adversity. They would likely prevail in the end. So what can we do to prepare for a potential Campania eruption? Well, for starters, we can educate ourselves about volcanoes and how to stay safe in the event of an eruption. We can also support organizations that are dedicated to studying and monitoring volcanoes. By understanding volcanoes, we can better protect ourselves from their destructive power. We can also prepare ourselves for the possibility of a Campania eruption by having a plan in place. This plan should include evacuation routes, as well as a communication plan for our family members. We should also have a disaster supply kit that includes food, water, and other essential supplies. If we are prepared, we will be able to better survive the aftermath of a Campania eruption. It is important to remember that volcanoes are a natural part of our planet. They have shaped the Earth as we know it and will continue to do so for centuries to come. While we cannot prevent volcanic eruptions, we can take steps to protect ourselves from their destructive power. By educating ourselves and preparing in advance, we can help ensure that we and our loved ones stay safe in the event of a volcanic eruption. And now, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Mount Vesuvius? Do you think it will erupt again? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos like this one. Thanks for watching.